What should I do if green tea bullies you, humiliates you, and ultimately kills you? Qin Bai told you, hang her, still hang her. After the opportunity was ripe, repay the humiliation suffered thousands and thousands of times. The world is frozen, and the end of the world is approaching. Qin Bai died in the hands of green tea. But he was reborn. In this life, he wanted to let green tea know what cruelty is. Get unlimited space at the beginning and take back billions of worth of goods. While others were still brainstorming about a pack of instant noodles, Qin Bai lay on his first-class sofa, enjoying the 82-year-old Lafite and Tomahawk steak. A member of a certain business committee said, "Qin Ge, you are my own brother. Can you give me a biscuit, just one piece?" A certain green tea said, "Good brother, he just took a shower and his stomach is a bit hungry." Qin Bai chuckled and said, "My food can only be eaten by humans, not dogs." Chapter 1. Death and Rebirth. You are listening at novel-full.audio. China firmly opposes the discharge of nuclear wastewater by Neon Nation and calls on all countries to oppose Neon Nation's disregard for others. We give the strictest condemnation. The latest report shows that some regions across the country have experienced abnormal climate phenomena. According to experts' testing, this is only a temporary situation. People across the country should not worry and pay attention to keeping warm and cold. Qin Bai had just woken up when he heard a familiar sound coming from the TV. He felt a splitting headache, and the scene before his death still lingered in his mind. "Qin Bai, haven't you heard a sentence? It's so hard to lick a dog. You've licked my woman for so long, have you tasted her taste?" "I have it. Do you remember the last time you messaged her? She was lying next to me and I almost laughed to death when I stepped on my horse." A young man with an arrogant expression, tightly embracing a woman with one hand, was freely mocking Qin Bai. The woman also hugged the man without hesitation, looking at Qin Bai with the same eyes as the shrimp-headed man. "Darling, stop talking nonsense to him. We have given him all the food he has. Let's take him out and sell him, and we can exchange him for some food." When a woman speaks, one hand is still placed on the man's chest to caress. If it weren't for this woman, Qin Bai wouldn't have opened the door casually. You. Qin Bai covered his chest and thrust a knife straight into his heart. He could feel his body gradually losing strength and his eyes becoming blurred. His last thought before his death was, he cursed this dog man and woman, not to die easily. The next second, he opened his eyes and found himself sitting on the sofa, while the TV in front of him was still playing the image from his memory. "I remember I was killed by a dog man and a woman, how come I'm still alive, and here?" Qin Bai's gaze was fixed on an electronic clock placed on the coffee table, where it clearly read. Today is 9 o'clock in the morning on August 8, 2023. But that's not right. He remembers very clearly that when he died, it was already September. Am I reborn? Qin Bai's novels over the years were not for nothing, and he quickly came to this conclusion. Life is reborn, and this time he wants to let that dog man and woman know that they can't bear the anger of honest people. However, the most important thing now is to prepare a large amount of supplies, because a month later, the originally hot summer has not arrived, and instead, extreme low temperatures will occur globally. Qin Bai doesn't know how long the low temperature lasted, but he was killed by this pair of dogs and men more than a month after the low temperature appeared. Listen to what they mean, this is preparing to exchange one's own body for food. During that period, he also heard about some people who, due to food shortages, turned their attention to their peers, which made people shudder. With a goal in mind, Qin Bai began a simple plan. Firstly, purchasing materials required a large amount of money. And all his savings added up to less than 10,000 yuan. There's no way, this is the helplessness of office workers, and he's still an orphan, making it difficult to find someone to borrow money. With so much money, I can't buy too many goods, and no one knows how long the global cooling will last. If it's several years, the few thousand yuan worth of goods won't hold up. But in just 1 month, he couldn't earn enough money to purchase supplies for several years. Or rather, such methods of making money are all written in the criminal law. Just as Qin Bai was pondering how to obtain a large amount of supplies, he felt as if there was something extra in his mind. He instinctively reached out his hand to the front and touched the coffee table. In the blink of an eye, the coffee table disappeared in front of him. This is... Qin Bai was startled, as if he had seen the coffee table appearing in his head. No, seriously speaking, it's the space in my mind. After a period of use, he realized that his rebirth had added an infinite space. Anyway, he doesn't even know how big the space is, so his plan can be changed. He took out his phone, opened the evil map, and locked onto a spot on it. That is a transit station for a huge logistics company spanning the world, with a large amount of goods every day, ranging from beer and snacks to furniture and cars, all of which are sent out from here and sent to various parts of the country. There is a warehouse dedicated to storing a large amount of daily necessities and food, and one of the employees is also his good friend. His goal is very clear, to take away all the supplies inside. With so many supplies, he can eat for a lifetime alone. At the same time, he also wants to help this good friend by the way. If he remembers correctly, this good guy happened to be moving things when the low temperature came. Due to operational errors, he was locked in the cold storage and eventually froze to death. As for how Qin Bai knew, because when he was online, he accidentally saw a photo of his good friend being frozen to death on a forum. At that time, a group of people rushed into this transfer station and found a large amount of supplies. The good person sent photos of his good friend to let Qin Bai know about his situation. To avoid that outcome, he must make his good buddies leave there early. Qin Bai took out his phone and directly connected a number. Quickly, a cheerful voice came from across. "Old Qin, are you looking for me to crack the black? Wait for me tonight. Lao Gu, this time it's not a joke. I'm asking you to come out and have a meal. Do you have time for lunch? Sleeping trough. Is the sun about to explode today? Lao Qin took the initiative to invite me to dinner. Let's first agree, the 10 yuan box is full of rice. This time it's not a boxed meal, I'll treat you to a seafood buffet." Gu Lang was really stunned now. He almost thought Qin Bai had won the lottery. You should know that in the past, Qin Bai used to treat him to meals by going to roadside stalls to eat boxed meals, with a large amount of food to fill his stomach. He also knows that Qin Bai is not easy and never mind this matter. Shortly thereafter, Qin Bai and Gu Lang met at a seafood buffet. Gu Lang was tall and imposing, standing there quite eye-catching. Qin Bai, who was only 1.8 meters tall, seemed to be much shorter in front of him. "Lao Qin, come on, are you borrowing money from me? I still have the 10,000 yuan I just saved up here. Take it all and repay it to me when you have money." Before Qin Bai could speak, Gu Lang took the initiative to take out 10,000 yuan in cash. Qin Bai was momentarily taken aback, and then a warm feeling flowed in his heart. Finally, he didn't fail as much in his life, and he still had a friend who treated him sincerely. Chapter 2. Tea Art Masters. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Qin Bai stopped Gu Lang's action directly and said with a smile, "I'm not here to borrow money from you this time, I'm just treating you to a meal. By the way, I'm very interested in where you work." Gu Lang's eyes lit up and he said, "Have you figured it out? I had already asked you to come and work with me. Although the work here is a bit tiring, the salary is not low." Gu Lang had no idea that Qin Bai was thinking about the materials inside the transfer station, not this job. Qin Bai didn't explain, he was brewing a big plan. After finishing their meal, the two of them were walking out of the restaurant when they saw two people walking towards them. That were two women dressed in fancy outfits. One woman was wearing a light green camisole dress, revealing a large area of pure white skin. Her face was exquisitely made up, with slightly upturned corners of her mouth and a carefully crafted lip makeup. All of these indicate the identity of this woman's green tea. Another woman, with a slightly inferior appearance, was wearing a light pink dress, but still considered a beauty. The four of them unexpectedly met, and Gu Lang's face changed. He recognized that the woman in the light green dress was the woman Qin Bai had been chasing. If it weren't for this woman, how could Qin Bai be so embarrassed alone? Lao Qin, let's go. Gu Lang pulled Qin Bai and prepared to leave, but how could Xiao Liani across from him let go of the mobile wallet delivered to the door? Among all her spare tires, Qin Bai is the most useful one. As long as she needs something, Qin Bai will come back to give it to her as soon as possible, even if it is in the neighboring city. Xiao Liani directly stopped the two of them, lightly biting her lower lip and swaying her body slightly, making a sweet voice. Qin Bai, why do you run away when you see me? Am I just so inconspicuous? This sound makes one's ears soften. It has to be said that being able to become green tea has certain capital. Gu Lang looked at Qin Bai with concern, and according to his thoughts, Qin Bai must immediately go up and lick. But this time, Qin Bai did not do so. I had an urgent matter with my friend, so I didn't notice you. Is there anything wrong? Qin Bai glanced at her and said indifferently. In the past, he valued Xiao Liani more than anything else, but after the end of the world, it was this most important woman who personally killed him. He didn't go up and give her a big fight now, mainly because he didn't want to let her go so easily. Now it's still a rule of law society. If he kills someone here, he will definitely be locked up. How will he still complete his plan when the time comes? Be patient. Must endure. Until that moment is enough for him to let go of all his hands and feet. Qin Bai's lips couldn't help but smile as he looked at Xiao Liani. And his smile, I don't know how to make Xiao Liani feel a chill all over her body. Strange, when he saw me before, he wished he could come over and say hello first. What's going on today? Oh, I understand now. Do you think the old methods are not effective anymore? Let's play hard to get. Tisk, it's really a low-level tactic. Xiao Liani felt disdainful in her heart, but on the surface, she still maintained her goddess-like posture. She reached out and gently lifted her beautiful hair, her beautiful eyes rippling, and a smile appeared at the corner of her mouth, revealing her shell teeth. Can't I come to you if I have nothing to do? I happen to be shopping with my best friend. Would you like to come along? In the past, Xiao Liani would never actively invite Qin Bai to go shopping together. She felt that Qin Bai's money was already a favor to him. But now, she feels that the spare tire seems to be giving up, so she quickly sprinkles some bait. If the fish runs away, she will have to spend time looking for a new one. Too troublesome. If Qin Bai had heard his goddess actively inviting him to go shopping, he would have been extremely excited long ago. Unfortunately, now he sneers inwardly. If it weren't for waiting for revenge on this woman in the future, he would have taken action long ago. He also knew that he couldn't change too much at once, otherwise this woman would definitely go looking for the next spare tire. How can this work? Aren't you green tea? Qin Bai is too familiar with how to hang green tea. But right now, I really have an urgent matter. Qin Bai put on an expression of wanting to go, but also feeling embarrassed. At this moment, Xiao Liani, who had been standing by silently, spoke to her best friend Lin Qin. I said you're still not a man, my family has said so. What do you want her to do? Don't be reserved in a girl's house. Are you moving on to another relationship? Lin Qin came up with a triple company. Xiao Liani also cooperated and played Lin Qin, making a look like I was very aggrieved but I didn't say anything. Don't hold on to me. This kind of man is absolutely not allowed. This kind of shrimp-headed man should get out of the way. Good guy, these two best friends are really amazing." Qin Bai applauded their performance in his heart, and this tea art is already at the level of a master. Qin Bai bit his teeth and said, "Actually, I didn't lie to you. I really have an urgent matter." As he spoke, he looked around and made a sneaky appearance, whispering, "There's something I haven't said yet. Actually, a few days ago, I won 5 million. Upon hearing these words, the three of them were all taken aback. 5 million. Is it really fake? Xiao Lianyi couldn't help but open her mouth, showing a shocked expression. For her, 5 million is really too much. Are you lying to someone? Just you can win 5 million. Lin Qin is somewhat skeptical. Qin Bai suddenly felt a little unhappy and said, "Just don't believe it, let's go, Lao Gu." How could Xiao Lianyi agree when Qin Bai really wants to leave? This is 5 million. She believes that with her own means, as long as she hooks her finger, Qin Bai will take the initiative to deliver this 5 million to her door. If she can get these 5 million, how many bags and cosmetics can she buy? Xiao Lianyi's smile had a hint of charm on her face. She extended a hand and deliberately placed it on the back of Qin Bai's hand. "Of course I believe you, after all, you are mine." Speaking of which, Xiao Lianyi gave Qin Bai a seductive look. Gu Lang beside him was completely stunned. He didn't know much about Xiao Lianyi, only that she was the goddess that Qin Bai had been pursuing. Unexpectedly, this woman is too knowledgeable. He knows that this woman is not a good person, but he still can't resist it. Xiao Lianyi gradually moved her hand towards Qin Bai's palm, and as she was about to grab Qin Bai's hand, Qin Bai suddenly withdrew. Mom once said, men should protect themselves outside and not have casual contact with the opposite sex. Xiao Lianyi almost couldn't catch her breath, her face looking a bit ugly. "Are you still not a man? The old lady has decided to suffer some losses and reward you, but you ended up saying this to me." Gu Lang almost didn't let out a pig's cry. He saw the look in Qin Bai's hand, and as a long-time good brother, he suddenly understood the meaning of this look. "Sorry both of you, we really have an urgent matter to discuss next time." Chapter 3. Calling Good Guys. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Gu Lang grabbed Qin Bai and quickly slipped away. When there was no one around, he couldn't help but laugh. "Lao Qin, the lie you just told is just like the truth, I almost believed it." Gu Lang was well aware that if Qin Bai had really won 5 million, he wouldn't have just invited him to a buffet. Qin Bai smiled slightly and said, "Stop talking about her. Let's go to your workplace and take a look." "No problem, I'll let the supervisor know later. I'll just take you on a tour, and the supervisor won't stop you." Perhaps Gu Lang's popularity is good, and his supervisor really didn't stop him. He just said conventionally, "Don't just go to some places casually, you can take care of them yourself." "No problem, supervisor. This is my brother, and I have to recommend him to come and work together." Gu Lang patted his chest and assured. Upon hearing this, the supervisor immediately smiled and said, "That's fine, you guys go ahead." Although it is a huge transfer station, the guard here is not so exaggerated. Upon careful consideration, it is clear that with such a large transfer station and so many supplies, who can quickly take them all away? If it's just throwing things around, they don't care at all. Under the leadership of Gu Lang, Qin Bai traveled through various places at this transfer station, which took him a whole day. The focus of his attention is on the surveillance room. Because he needs to deliver these transit station supplies to his own space at the fastest speed, the surveillance camera must be the first to solve the problem. Otherwise, there is no need to wait until the end of the world, he will be caught and sliced. With the help of Gu Lang, Qin Bai even entered the monitoring room to take a look. There are 3 people watching here. If there is a problem with a certain part of the monitoring, they will contact others to repair it, ensuring that the monitoring operates 24 hours a day. There is a password-locked door in the monitoring room, and it is impossible to enter without knowing the password. But Qin Bai has come up with a way to enter the monitoring room. After entering the surveillance room, the first thing he needs to do is to knock out the 3 people inside and turn off all monitoring equipment. Afterwards, he must quickly gather all the supplies in this place into the space. With so many supplies, he can eat for a lifetime without worrying. Due to the large size of the transfer station, there are electric scooters inside for easy access to various places. Although the speed is not very fast, it is definitely much faster than his 2 legs. After learning about the situation at the transfer station, Qin Bai bid farewell to Gu Lang and went back to make some preparations. He only had less than 10,000 yuan on him, and it wasn't enough to buy something, so he came up with a good idea. Loan. If he had a house as collateral, he could at least get a loan of over 1 million. Unfortunately, he didn't. If it weren't for the bank employees seeing him as young and having a decent job, they would have lent him 200,000 yuan with slightly higher interest rates. 200,000 yuan may seem like a lot, but it's still not enough for his plan. What he needs is absolute safety after the end of the day. With supplies, he only has the foundation to survive, but when faced with those greedy people, his 2 fists are unbeatable with 4 hands, and sooner or later something will happen. So he needs something to save his life. In his country, thermal weapons are almost impossible to obtain, or even if they can be obtained, he does not have such channels. So the best way is to buy some cold weapons. Some good cold weapons are of high value and may not even be available for 200,000 yuan. After having this money, Qin Bai began to prepare some things. Firstly, there are a few simple cold weapons that are not expensive and can be used in critical moments. There are also ropes, ether, fire extinguishers, and so on, all to deal with the 3 people in the monitoring room. Just buying these things took him 2 days. After all, some things are not in stock. Ether is something he obtained through some connections, and he cannot purchase it casually. After everything was ready, Qin Bai prepared to go find Gu Lang. But at that moment, his phone shook and he took it out to see that it was the message sent by Xiao Liani. There is also a selfie attached above. In the selfie, she is wearing a low-necked white camisole dress with green tea makeup on her face, like a blooming white lotus flower. Qin Bai, are you at home? I happen to have time. Let's go have lunch later. Qin Bai showed a slight smile, just in time. Why haven't I seen you before? Do you have time? If it were him in the past, he would probably have gone crazy long ago. Qin Bai began to reply to messages. Sorry, I made an appointment with a friend today. Let's do it next time. This sentence was once the most frequently replied by Xiao Liani to him, but now Qin Bai has returned it to her. After replying, Qin Bai was about to depart when he saw a new friend adding him with a note on it. I'm Lin Qin, please add me when you see me. It also comes with a blinking emoji, which carries a malicious and cute connotation. Qin Bai raised his lips. Did Lin Qin finally get hooked? As Xiao Liani's good friend, this woman has also done many things that disgusted him. In order to lick Xiao Liani, the former Qin Bai also crazily asked Lin Qin for help, but Lin Qin always only took money and didn't do anything. Even constantly saying something, as a man, one should have a sense of responsibility and always take the initiative to pay when going out. Buying cheap things only makes people feel that he is stingy, which makes Xiao Liani even more disdainful of him and so on. Previously, Qin Bai didn't know this and thought it was because he didn't do it well, but after being reborn, he understood. I was PUA myself. Xiao Liani will not let go, and Lin Qin is no exception. In the previous life, it was Lin Qin who proposed the method of asking Qin Bai for food that made Qin Bai give them all the food he had left. By the way, the two of them live together, and Qin Bai is not far from their community. Qin Bai decisively added the other party's friend, and as soon as it was added, Lin Qin couldn't wait to send a voice message. Qin Bai, do you have time for lunch? It's so boring to eat alone. I really want to find someone to accompany me to eat. The voice was sweet and sweet, making the goosebumps on Qin Bai's body rise. Qin Bai also replied with a voice. Sorry, I made an appointment with a friend today. Let's do it next time. He sent the previous words to Xiao Liani to Lin Qin again, but this time it was a voice version. Lin Qin seems to have not given up yet, continuing to send a voice message and saying, It's okay, I don't mind your friends coming over. Is that the person from last time? Good guy, I just called out to him. Qin Bai didn't expect that Lin Qin wouldn't give up. Chapter 4. Preparation before hands-on. You are listening at Novel Full.Audio. There's been something going on lately, let's do it next time. Qin Bai used the drag word technique, and since he wants to find a way to deal with Lin Qin in the future, he naturally cannot directly sever ties now. When fishing, the rod can only be lifted when the fish are completely hooked. Lin Qin's voice was very aggrieved. Alright, definitely next time. Subsequently, Qin Bai set off to the place where Gu Lang worked. This time he is preparing to come and apply. That's right, since you want to take what's here, you naturally need to be more familiar with it. Thieves always trample on things before stealing. This time, they are stealing various materials from the entire transfer station. How can they do without being fully prepared? The person in charge of Qin Bai is Gu Lang's supervisor. The other party gave Qin Bai some simple interviews and then decided to let him work here for a month. If he performs well, he can be promoted to a full-time position. Lao Qin, we can start working together in the future. After work, let's go to the gym and treat ourselves. Gu Lang said happily. Qin Bai grinned slightly and said, No problem, but on the first day of work, you have to behave better. Well, come with me and I'll teach you what to do during the day. With the help of Gu Lang, Qin Bai quickly became familiar with the workflow, mainly taking care of the items here and moving them. Even Qin Bai entered the surveillance room several times and established good relationships with the people inside. Huazi opens the way, who can stop it? A day passed quickly. Just as Qin Bai was about to leave work with Gu Lang and go black, the supervisor found him. Xiao Qin, I'm really sorry. The daytime shift is already full, and now only the night shift has vacancies left. Look. Upon hearing this, Gu Lang suddenly felt a little unhappy and said, Supervisor, as you had agreed before, you were supposed to work the day shift for Lao Qin. Why did it suddenly turn into a night shift? Everyone knows that the day shift is more comfortable than the night shift. After all, staying up at night can be unbearable for the body over time. The supervisor's expression was a bit awkward, but Qin Bai felt great joy in his heart. It was because the heavens were helping him. He was worried about what reason to work the night shift, but he didn't expect the supervisor to send him over. Alright, Lao Gu, isn't it just the night shift? I'll take care of it. Can you transfer me to the day shift in the future? Qin Bai gave Gu Lang a hand and gave him a glance. Gu Lang is helpless. After all, others are supervisors. If they don't give face, they will also be in trouble in the future. That's settled. You don't need to come during the day tomorrow, just come and work the night shift. The supervisor nodded in satisfaction. This new employee is not a thorn in the head. After coming out, Gu Lang quickly said, Old Qin, do you know how difficult it is to switch from night shift to day shift? Qin Bai certainly knew that Gu Lang was doing it for his own good, but he didn't know what would happen in the future. Don't worry, we'll just follow the supervisor's arrangement. Seeing Qin Bai's appearance, Gu Lang could only nod helplessly. Afterwards, they had dinner and went back to their respective homes to have dinner. The next day, Qin Bai first dealt with Xiao Liani and Lin Qin, the plastic best friends, and then arrived at the workplace after dark. There is only one security guard at the gate here. After confirming Qin Bai's identity, he let Qin Bai in. Not long after, Qin Bai saw a tall man wearing work clothes and said to Qin Bai, we are staff members and don't need to patrol. That's what the security guards do. What you need to do is guide those who load goods to place different goods in different areas. Remember not to make mistakes, okay? I know, I don't know how to call Big Brother. Qin Bai skillfully took out a piece of flour and handed it over. The other party brought it over and saw that it was Huazi, and a faint smile appeared on their face. My name is Wang Liang. If you don't mind, just call me Brother Liang. Okay, Brother Liang. Seeing Qin Bai being so knowledgeable, Wang Liang specifically instructed him on some details, and then gave him an electric scooter and a map, leaving him to do things alone. In Wang Liang's words, the work here can last until around 12 o'clock at most, and no goods are allowed to enter from then on. Before that, all work must be completed early, otherwise it will be at another price. It's around 8 o'clock now, which means he still has to work for 4 hours, which is just right for Qin Bai. His familiarity with this place is not enough. How can we take all the goods without being discovered? These are all things that Qin Bai needs to consider. That night, Qin Bai learned something. There are almost 50 security guards here before 12 o'clock. But after 12 o'clock, it will suddenly be reduced to only 8. They will patrol every hour, one person at a time, and the rest will rest in a separate security room. Of course, there is also one person responsible for guarding the gate. The 3 people in the monitoring room are fixed and do not participate in anything else. Besides, it's staff like Qin Bai. However, Qin Bai also learned that staff like them can go to a small room to sleep until the next day after 12 o'clock. So it seems that the first step must be to deal with the 3 people in the surveillance room, turn off the surveillance, and then the staff and security. Qin Bai pondered in his heart. At night, when there was no one around, he arrived at a surveillance blind spot where he made an attempt. That's how much space he can take away at once. When he realized that he could immediately stuff everything on the huge shelf in front of him into space, he realized that his action time would be even shorter. In this way, all the preparations are done and we will start taking action tomorrow. That night, after finishing all his work, Qin Bai came to a small room of the staff. There are many double-decker beds here, with only one wooden board resting on it, and these people spend the night on these boards. These employees greeted each other and then found a place to sleep on their own. They have been working for several hours and are tired. Now they just want to sleep. Not long after, grunts kept coming one after another. In order to wait for them all to fall asleep, Qin Bai waited a little longer. Almost done. Qin Bai suddenly had a piece of white gauze on his hand, sprinkled with some ether, and placed it directly on the nose of an employee next to him. In just a few seconds, the employee went from sleeping to unconscious, without making any sound in between. At the same time, in order to prevent the short duration of ether coma, Qin Bai took the higher concentration white gauze and replaced it with a lower concentration white gauze. Chapter 5. Successful Plan. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The purpose of this is to prolong the other person's coma time. Using this method, Qin Bai made all the employees fall into a coma, and the next step was to quietly come to the edge of the monitoring room. Qin Bai is very clear that the 3 people in the surveillance room basically don't stare at the surveillance after night, abbreviated as slacking off. The next second, a gun appeared in his hand. Of course, it's just a simulation gun, but the metal bullets fired inside can still cause injuries. At the same time, he put on a long-prepared headband, covering his head, only revealing his eyes and mouth. Qin Bai placed one hand on top of the password door in the monitoring room, and in the blink of an eye, the password door disappeared and was placed inside the space. This is the method that Qin Bai came up with. He doesn't know the password, but it's okay. He can just put the password door inside. After rushing in, he deliberately lowered his voice and said, "Don't move." 3 people inside were chatting when they saw Qin Bai rushing in with a gun. After a moment of confusion, all 3 of them raised their hands. "Cover yourself, otherwise I'll shoot. Qin Bai threw out 3 pieces of white gauze and said to them. 3 people looked at each other, and one of the younger ones said, "Brother, your gun can't be fake, can it? Where do we get real guns in our country?" "Oh, you can give it a try and exchange your life for the lives of both of them." Qin Bai sneered. Suddenly, the person stopped speaking. Although they all suspect that the gun in Qin Bai's hand is fake, what if it is true? Being beaten to death has no value. An elderly person picked up a white gauze, covered their mouth and nose, and soon fell to the ground. This made the other 2 people know that this white gauze must have something that can make people unconscious. They had no choice but to do the same thing, but Qin Bai did not approach and instead made a cold voice. "Playing tricks in front of me, you guys are still far behind. I'll count to 3. If I don't really faint this time, I'll just shoot. 1, 2. Before Qin Bai could count to 3, the young man quickly got up and shouted, Don't shoot, I'm really here this time." Qin Bai squinted his eyes. Just now, he was just being cautious and deliberately deceiving. "I didn't expect anyone to dare to cheat." This time, the young man covered it for a while before rolling his eyes and lying on the ground. Just in case, Qin Bai picked up a stool and threw it over, hitting all 3 of them, but not a single one made any movement. The human body may have some instinctive reactions, but these 3 people have not responded, indicating that it is true. He picked up new white gauze and placed it on their faces, then crushed all the monitoring content and turned off the monitoring equipment. In this way, even if they want to recover afterwards, the time it takes is enough for him to wait until the end of the day. Before leaving, he put the password door back in its original position, otherwise one password door would disappear. It seems that something is wrong. Now there is only the last security guard left. At this point in time, there should be 1 security guard left outside. Let's deal with the other security guards first. Qin Bai arrived outside the security room, but not all the security guards inside were sleeping. He was already prepared and took out a large jar filled with ether. Of course not the high-purity one, the one that can kill people. His purpose is simply to make these people unconscious. As ether was gradually injected, the security inside noticed something was wrong, but unfortunately it was already too late. They fell to the ground one by one and fainted. Qin Bai continued to wait, and after waiting for a while, the patrolling security guard returned. He went up directly, covered the other person's mouth and nose, struggled a few times before fainting. Finally, there is the security guard at the entrance, which is the simplest. After all, this security guard would never have thought that someone would attack him. Finally, everyone at the entire transfer station was taken care of by Qin Bai, and the rest of the time depends on how much he can take away. Qin Bai drove the electric scooter and raced wildly inside. As long as his hand touches the shelf of the goods, he can put the entire shelf and its contents into the space, taking only 1 second. It can be said that he spends most of his time on the road. After he threw everything into his own space, he put down the electric scooter and returned to the employee dormitory. He placed a piece of white gauze on his mouth and nose, and gradually lost consciousness. "Old Qin, wake up quickly." Qin Bai was awakened by a sound, and when he opened his eyes, he saw Gu Lang's worried gaze. "Lao Gu, are you here so early?" Qin Bai looked surprised. "You should know that Gu Lang usually goes to work earlier than usual." "Old Qin, something's wrong." Gu Lang told Qin Bai everything that happened last night. As Qin Bai had imagined, a large amount of goods worth billions disappeared overnight, and this matter could no longer be concealed, leaving everyone stunned. Qin Bai took out his phone and saw that all the headlines now were about transit stations. Shocked. One of the world's largest transit stations, all supplies disappeared overnight. Is this a moral decay or a distortion of human nature? Unprecedented. Why did billions of supplies disappear overnight? Is it difficult to say that this is the world's top magic? All websites have exploded, and now this thing is traffic. Even if you just talk nonsense, there will still be people watching and the click-through volume will skyrocket. The traffic password was indeed caught by them. After seeing these contents, Qin Bai's lips flashed with a fleeting smile. No one would have thought that he would have a huge space to take away so many supplies overnight. Lao Qin, police will come over and ask you one by one later. After all, this incident is too big, but you don't have to worry. The theft of so many supplies must have been done by a large organization, and we civilians will not have any problems. Gu Lang comforted. As expected, not long after, these night shift workers were all taken away by the police for individual questioning. The police don't think it was their own people who did it. After all, there are too many missing materials. Some people have calculated that even if transported by large trucks, hundreds of them cannot be delivered overnight. The number of participants may be higher than the staff at the transfer station, which is clearly not in line with common sense. But this incident is really too big. Billions of goods disappeared overnight. The police are under a lot of pressure now, and they can only proceed step by step. Qin Bai was taken to a room where there were two police officers, a man and a woman, both looking very young. Name: Qin Bai. Age: 28 years old. Gender: ... Chapter 6. Sword Pavilion. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Qin Bai wanted to take a look at Play Naughty and said that he was a Walmart shopping bag. Unfortunately, he also knew that if he did, he would probably be watched by the police. Male. After a brief inquiry, Qin Bai naturally replied that he knew nothing. When he returned to the employee dormitory to rest, he woke up and saw other colleagues. It can be said that his answer is no different from others. The two police officers couldn't help it either. They had been observing Qin Bai's expression, but unfortunately didn't notice anything. They can only let Qin Bai go back first, but they will contact him at any time. Among all the employees, only he is a newcomer, and theoretically, his suspicion is the greatest among these employees. The male police officer said. It's not necessarily true. If it's really related to him, then he should have left early instead of staying here, which is not beneficial for him. The female police officer shook her head and said. I actually think that those senior employees may have a greater chance. After all, no one will easily doubt an old employee who has worked for several years. Qin Bai doesn't know how those police guessed, but this matter has nothing to do with him anymore. Now that he has received so many supplies, it can be said that even if the end comes, he doesn't need to worry about anything. So next, he only has one thing to do. It's best to buy firearms when purchasing cold weapons. By the way, give your ordinary rental house a good makeover. He wants to build a safe house before the end of the day approaches. He began searching online for places to buy those good cold weapons. After some research, he found a store that was not far away and had a good reputation in the industry. Sword Pavilion. The name looks ordinary, but this store only accepts specialized customization and requires a deposit of half. Once you back out later, the deposit will not be refunded. According to online reports, the quality of the cold weapons in this store is very good. After cutting, it is easy to cut wood with a diameter of 20 centimeters. Qin Bai took the high-speed train and arrived at the Sword Pavilion. It should be here, why didn't I even have a brand? Did I get scammed? Standing in front of an old house that looked very dilapidated, Qin Bai was a bit puzzled. At this moment, the wooden door was opened, and a girl who looked 16 or 17 years old extended her head. Are you Mr. Qin, who had previously made an appointment to come and customize cold weapons? It's me. Is this the Sword Pavilion? Yes, that's right. Come on in. The girl was very enthusiastic. She pulled Qin Bai inside and closed the wooden door, looking very skilled in her movements. After entering, Qin Bai saw various iron tools placed in the yard, most of which were agricultural tools, but they looked of good quality. Does the sword and sword pavilion also sell agricultural tools? Qin Bai is a bit strange. The sword pavilion he found should be a very upscale place. Why does it feel completely different? The girl smiled awkwardly and politely. After all, they are all villagers. They are asking to make some farm tools, but my grandfather cannot refuse. Qin Bai nodded in understanding, sometimes feeling involuntary. An old man wearing a vest walked out of the house. This is Mr. Qin, right? Since you have come here, you should know our rules here. No matter what weapons are customized, you must pay half of the deposit first. The old man said. Of course I know this. I need a high-quality knife, and then a few average quality cold weapons, common ones are fine. How much do you think it will cost? Is the quality very high? This range is a bit large. At best, it can reach over 1 million, and the lowest is around 100,000. Although Qin Bai really wants to offer $1 million deal directly, unfortunately he doesn't have the funds. By the way, how long does it take to build these cold weapons, old man? It will take about a week at the fastest. Qin Bai can still afford to wait for a week. After all, he still needs some remaining money to build his own safe house. They discussed the price, including a high-quality knife, 5 common cold weapons, knives, guns, sticks, etc., for a total of 120,000 yuan. The deposit is half, which is 60,000 yuan. In this way, only 140,000 yuan remains from the newly acquired 200,000 yuan, hoping to create a good safe house. As for the final payment, Qin Bai still needs to find a way. If it really doesn't work, let Gu Lang take out a loan and lend him some more. Seeing Qin Bai paying the deposit so readily, both grandpa and son showed a smile on their faces. But just then, the door was rudely kicked by someone, and a man's arrogant voice came. You're not dead, come out quickly. If you don't come out again, we'll have to paint your doorstep. Your son owes so much money, and selling you here is almost enough to pay him back. Don't say I won't give you a chance, get out of here. Upon hearing this sound, the old man's face was filled with pain, while the girl's face was gloomy. Qin Bai suddenly understood why there were only 2 left in a sword and sword pavilion. It turned out that the old man's son owed a high-interest loan, but now someone else came to ask for trouble. Old man, did you not report to the police? The old man smiled bitterly and said, I've tried, but those people didn't do anything outrageous, and the police couldn't help but give a warning. The police cannot stay here 24 hours a day, they can wait for the police to leave and continue to harass. In this way, even if guests come over and see such trouble, they probably don't want to build weapons here. Moreover, in modern society, there are already very few people who play with such cold weapons. Qin Bai pondered for a moment. If he could help the elderly solve this problem, would it be possible not to pay the final payment? But how can he solve a high-interest loan organization? What he currently possesses is only an infinitely large space. Apart from storing things, what else can this space do? Suddenly, Qin Bai thought of something. All along, he has only put some dead objects into his own space, so can he put the living objects inside? What changes will occur after living organisms enter? Thinking of this, Qin Bai decided to give it a try now. His gaze swept around and saw a bird cage hanging inside the house. He quickly ran in and quickly came out again. Qin Bai had a confident smile on his face, and he finally had a way to deal with those people. Old man, if I can help you solve those people's troubles, I wonder if you can waive my final payment. The old man said at the time, as long as you can solve the trouble caused by these people, not to mention the final payment, it's not a problem for me to help you build weapons for free, old man. Chapter 7. This is magic, not magic. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After obtaining the old man's consent, Qin Bai walked over and opened the door. In an instant, 7 or 8 strong men rushed in. "Old man, the money your son owes, along with interest, is a total of 1.34481 million yuan, with both zero and whole. Don't say I don't take care of you, I'll just wipe out the change and give 1.34 million yuan directly." The old man was shocked and said, "Didn't it still be 1.1 million last time? Why did it rise so much again?" "Hi, this is a high-interest loan signed by your son himself. We also follow the contract, don't make it difficult for us, old man. It's really not possible. You can use this house as collateral. This rundown house will give you over 1 million yuan, and you'll earn it." The old man looked sad and angry, but he had no choice. Qin Bai knew that it was time for him to play. The law does not support high-interest loans. Even if you really file a lawsuit, you won't get a penny. Qin Bai smiled and said. The man in sunglasses looked askance at Qin Bai and spat on the ground. "Who are you stepping on? It's none of your business. I am a magician who came here by chance." "It was not my business, but unfortunately, you insist on the elderly person's house being mortgaged, which is not acceptable." The sunglasses man sneered and said, "Magician. A fraudster is a fraudster. He talks so grandly that he scared me to death, ha ha ha." The little brothers behind him also burst out laughing together. The smile on Qin Bai's face remained unchanged. "Since you are a magician, why don't you perform a magic trick for me to see?" The man in sunglasses was not in a hurry and wanted to embarrass Qin Bai in public. The grandfather and grandson behind them also looked at each other, unaware that Qin Bai was still a magician. "I don't know what kind of magic you want to see. Do you see that? This is the latest Love Crazy 15 phone, you can make it disappear for me now." The man in sunglasses took out his phone and looked proud. The little brother behind him clearly showed a look of envy. After all, this phone is not cheap. "No problem." Qin Bai brought over the Love Crazy 15 phone, holding it in his left palm and intentionally covering it with his right hand, slowly moving it away. The Love Crazy 15 phone that was originally in his hand disappeared in public. This scene shocked everyone. They have all seen magic, but this is the first time they have seen a scene where a phone is lost without any prior preparation. "Sleeping slot, return my phone to me." The sunglasses man is in a hurry, he's about to take action when he comes up. However, his hand had not yet touched Qin Bai, but Qin Bai's hand had touched him first. In the blink of an eye, his clothes were gone, leaving only a pair of underwear. The man in sunglasses felt a chill all over his body. He looked down and let out a woman-like scream. He hugged his body and crouched down. "Give me back my clothes." The man in sunglasses almost cried. The younger brothers also had strange expressions, and it was the first time they had seen the boss like this. Qin Bai always wore a faint smile on his face and said, "I still have one show that hasn't been performed. Do you want to watch it? A great transformation into a living person." The last 4 words, he said in a low voice, even intending to take a few steps closer to them. The few people were frightened and retreated repeatedly, afraid that Qin Bai would make them disappear. After all, in front of them, Qin Bai first lost his phone, and then he even lost all the clothes of the man with sunglasses. "Are you sure this is magic, not magic? I remember seeing a saying online that some magicians are actually magicians, they are just using magic under the guise of magic." A little brother said with a mysterious expression on his face. "Sleeping trough, is this where we hit him? He can't really transform into a living person, can he? Who knows, we just came here to collect a high-interest loan. I don't want to lose it." A few little brothers were very scared, so the man lifted his sunglasses and ran away directly. "Don't run, my love is crazy 15." A farce was easily resolved by Qin Bai. The old man said on the spot that he would help Qin Bai build cold weapons for free. If it weren't for Qin Bai, their grandfather and grandson wouldn't have been bullied into what kind of situation. Just now Qin Bai entered the room and tried to use space to collect the living creatures, but failed. But he accidentally put the bird cage into the space, which startled the birds and made him immediately react. Sometimes, scaring others off doesn't require such a direct way. He just needs to show that his magic is really powerful enough to make a living, and that's enough. The infinite space in his mind can really make him disguise as a magician. Seeing the appearance of the grandfather and grandson, he knew that they believed they really knew magic. Elderly people, if they come again next time, please let them know. I will often visit them and perform magic tricks for them. Qin Bai waved his hand and bid them farewell. The weapon has been resolved, and the next thing that needs to be addressed is the security issue of one's own house. Although it is a rented house, with the advent of the end of the world, it is no longer meaningful to rent a house. He can definitely spend some money on renovating the house. He returned to his own city and found a decoration company. Mr. Qin, you want to do a second renovation of your house, right? Yes, but the focus of my renovation this time is on safety. I want to create an absolutely safe house. Can I do it? The manager's expression was a bit strange. He had seen many clients with various decoration requirements, some even turning their homes into zoos and botanical gardens, and some even turning their homes into a lax style. But for the first time, he heard that they wanted to turn their homes into safe houses. Will there be war in the future? However, adhering to the principle that customers are God, the manager mocked him before coming up and said, if you want to build a safe house, this renovation cost. Qin Bai threw the bank card directly and said, there are over 100,000 yuan in this card, which can be considered as a deposit. Is that enough? The manager's eyes lit up, and over 10,000 yuan was just a deposit. This is a big customer. Of course, he had no idea that Qin Bai was not prepared to pay the final payment, because after the safe house was built, the end of the world was about to come. At that time, money was just a pile of waste paper. The two of them finalized various designs for the safe house, and Qin Bai then left. Everything is ready, except for the east wind. Qin Bai returned to his own house, leaned against the sofa, and had an extra bottle of beer in his hands at some point. This is not just ordinary beer, it belongs to the high-end imported beer category. Just for the price of one bottle, you can buy a dozen ordinary beers. Tons, hiccups. Qin Bai took it down in one breath and smacked his lips, saying, it seems like there's no difference between it and those ordinary beers. Why is it selling so expensive? Because it's imported. At this moment, his phone rang, and when he picked it up, he saw that it was Xiao Lianyi calling. Chapter 8. Human Reality. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Qin Bai, I'm moving. Can you come over and help me? I'll treat you to dinner later, okay? Xiao Lianyi's voice carried a hint of softness. If Qin Bai had passed by, he would probably have agreed at lightning speed, and then hurriedly rushed over. But now, Qin Bai is no longer the same as before. Qin Bai said in a regretful tone, are you moving? Where are you moving? I wanted to help, but I have an urgent matter and can't go now. Qin Bai himself never expected that his acting skills had reached the level of perfection. He could never have achieved such acting skills in the past. Xiao Lianyi felt a bit disappointed. She had already found several reasons, but Qin Bai either had something to do or would definitely do it next time, which made her doubt her charm. I'll surprise you at the place I'm moving to, hee. Xiao Lianyi made a playful and lovely voice. As a tea master, Xiao Lianyi is well aware that in order to keep the spare tire from giving up, she must occasionally give some benefits. Previously, Qin Bai didn't look up to her, but after winning 5 million yuan, Qin Bai's weight in her heart suddenly increased significantly. At least temporarily surpassing other spare tires and ranking first on the spare tire list. After finishing the conversation with Xiao Lianyi, Lin Qin immediately called. Qin Bai, they are moving today. Can you come over and help me with a little favor? Lin Qin's coquettish voice was even more exaggerated than Xiao Lian's, causing goosebumps to rise on Qin Bai's body. Are you also moving? The goddess also called me just now. If it weren't for my other business now, I would have gone over. Qin Bai deliberately said in a tone of regret. Lin Qin frowned and looked outside the door. Sure enough, Xiao Lian also called Qin Bai. It's different knowing he's rich, he's such a slut. Lin Qin cursed inwardly, but still smiled on the surface and said, brother, my sister is different from some people. My sister only cares about Gij. Lying trough. This sentence almost didn't send Qin Bai away on the spot. It's not like goosebumps anymore. Since Gigi has something to do, let's do it next time. My sister will be waiting for you all the time. Qin Bai looked at his phone and realized for the first time that Lin Qin was not just a simple commodity. It seems that in my previous life, I knew too little about her. She was also someone who was open-minded when it came to money. Qin Bai smiled coldly at the corner of his mouth and then called Gu Lang. Lao Gu, what does the company say now? The disappearance of goods worth billions at the transfer station has become a major event, and the police are fully investigating this matter. But no matter how they simulate the scene, there is one thing that cannot be avoided, and that is how so many materials disappeared overnight. They couldn't even dream that there would be someone in the world who could directly put so many supplies in their own space. The company has temporarily given us a paid leave, and we can only wait for the police results. Otherwise, we won't dare to send new supplies over. Gu Lang was also very helpless. He couldn't even figure out how so many supplies disappeared. It was like a dream. Lao Gu, I heard it will cool down next month. Remember to buy more thick clothes and food with a long shelf life, just in case. As his only friend, Qin Bai naturally cannot sit idly by. It's not a problem to lend a hand within our capabilities. It's just that he can't say it so clearly. If he were to say now that the end of next month is coming, Gu Lang's first reaction would probably be to pull him to look at his brain. Ah! Shouldn't it get hotter next month? Gu Lang looked bewildered. Believe me, even if it doesn't cool down, these things can still be used in the future. Qin Bai's voice is very sincere. Gu Lang thought to himself that this was indeed true. Okay, I'll go buy these things later. I happen to have an empty room at home, which should be able to accommodate quite a bit. Qin Bai smiled at the corner of his mouth, and indeed only Lao Gu was willing to believe what he said. With thick clothes and enough food, coupled with the fact that the transfer station no longer requires work, Lao Gu's tragic future has been preliminarily changed. Next, he only needs to change his future. The renovation company acted quickly and sent someone over the next day to start renovating his house. Since it is a safe house, metal plates are definitely needed on each wall to increase the strength of the house. Such a big move was naturally seen by nearby neighbors. They all came curiously to watch the excitement, and were surprised when they saw Qin Bai nailing steel plates on their own walls. Young man, what are you doing? An old man asked curiously. Oh, it's nothing. I like metallic styles and would like to change the decoration style of my house. Qin Bai casually talks nonsense, whether others believe it or not, he believes it himself. What? The old man's head is full of question marks. How can anyone like this style? But this is also someone else's business. After reading it for a while, the old man lost interest. Qin Bai ignored everyone else and kept staring at the workers' decoration. Sometimes, he even gave some suggestions to improve his own safe house. At this moment, one hand patted his shoulder, and then a familiar voice came to his ear. Guess who I am? This voice, even if Qin Bai died, he wouldn't forget it. It's a goddess. Qin Bai turned around and saw that it was Xiao Lian standing behind him. Strangely, Lin Qin, who had been with her all along, was not around. Xiao Liani smiled slightly and reached out to stroke her hair in front of her forehead, exuding the demeanor of a lady from a wealthy family. Goddess or something is too far-sighted. In the future, you can call me Liani. How can this work? Goddesses are goddesses. Qin Bai refused and looked as if he was licking the dog properly. Xiao Liani felt relieved when she saw Qin Bai's appearance. Sure enough, there must have been something else about Qin Bai's previous behavior. Otherwise, his attitude towards himself is normal. But she didn't know that Qin Bai's heart was like a demon, with a ferocious mouth open. By the way, goddess, why are you here? I remember you lived in a high-end residential area, didn't you? Qin Bai suddenly remembered this matter. I have already moved out and happen to be in this community. Isn't this a coincidence? Xiao Liani's eyes flashed slightly, and the pink lipstick on her lips seemed to be emitting light. Qin Bai suddenly realized that Xiao Liani had moved here specifically. She really didn't want any face for that 5 million. People can be realistic, but not too realistic. Chapter 9. Plastic Sisters. You are listening at novelfull.audio. So coincidental. If that's the case, I'll be able to meet the goddess frequently in the future. Qin Bai pretended to be so happy that he couldn't believe it. Yeah, we used to have too few opportunities to meet, but in the future we can meet more often so we can get to know each other better. Xiao Liani lowered her head slightly at the right time, her face slightly rosy. Such a level makes Qin Bai have to praise it, it's really good tea art. Xiao Liani really focused all her talents on tea art, which made Qin Bai feel inferior. By the way, you haven't eaten yet, right? I happen to know a good restaurant. Shall we go together? Xiao Liani blinked her eyes and looked at Qin Bai. Qin Bai smiled heartily and said, "It's my honor to have dinner with the goddess." Xiao Liani also smiled happily. Sure enough, there was no problem with her charm. With just a little time, she could make Qin Bai obediently give her the money. Xiao Liani smiled happily, and Qin Bai also smiled happily. Just as they were about to leave, a surprised voice sounded. I've been looking for you for a long time. Where have you been? Isn't this Qin Bai? Why are you here? The person speaking was Lin Qin, who looked like she had walked over by chance, but what she didn't know was that Qin Bai had just seen her. Lin Qin's current appearance is all pretentious. Oh, I remember. Qin Bai lives in this community, which is really a coincidence. Lin Qin's acting skills are quite good, it's better to say that women are all natural actors, and it's completely impossible to see that they are portrayed. Qin, didn't you say you went shopping? Xiao Lian asked with a smile on her face and without a smile on her face. Just her gaze, as if questioning Lin Qin why she jumped out to disturb her. Lin Qin also showed the same smile. I went out for a walk and didn't see anything I wanted to buy, so I came back to find you. I found out you weren't at home, so I came out to find you. Unexpectedly, I saw you and Qin Bai. Are you going out to eat? Can you take me with you? Just that, Lin Qin said it to Qin Bai. Xiao Liani certainly didn't want to, but she finally went out to eat with Qin Bai. She wanted to take this opportunity to make Qin Bai completely her subordinate. But at this critical moment, my good friend actually came out to cause trouble. What kind of good friend is this? She just can't say it directly, it would make Qin Bai think her character is not good. However, she has been pretending to be a goddess in front of Qin Bai, so naturally she can't do that. Xiao Liani could only silently recite in her heart, don't agree, don't agree. But her thoughts seemed to have not been conveyed. She heard Qin Bai's voice. Okay, there are many people and it's lively, isn't there a goddess? Xiao Liani could only barely squeeze out a smile and said, yes, if we play Qin and Qin together, it will be more lively. Just secretly, she gave Lin Qin a fierce glare. Since Lin Qin chose to take action, she didn't care about Xiao Lian's glare. She knew that as long as she could take Qin Bai, that 5 million would be her own. She has self-awareness. In terms of appearance, she cannot compare to Xiao Lian, but she is even more open-minded than Xiao Lian. Xiao Lian has always maintained her goddess persona, but she does not need this persona. So she took the initiative to reach out and hold Qin Bai's arm, but Qin Bai didn't know if it was unintentional. Suddenly, she walked forward, causing Lin Qin's movements to fail. "Hurry up, I'm already hungry," Qin Bai shouted to the two of them. Xiao Lian and Lin Qin exchanged a glance, snorted to each other, and walked over. After a while, they arrived at a Western restaurant. After the three of them sat down separately, Qin Bai picked up the menu and saw that the price on it made him frown. The prices in Western restaurants are quite high, with 3 digits being normal and only a few in 2 digits. Qin Bai was completely unwilling to let him spend money to treat these two people to dinner, but he had already prepared for it this time. 3 servings of Philippe, 7 ripe, and 1 bottle of the latest vintage Lafite red wine. Qin Bai put down the menu and said to the waiter, "Okay, sir." Afterwards, there was a secret confrontation between Qin Bai and the two women. Xiao Lian has always hinted that as long as he is willing to contribute a little money, she may become his girlfriend. That's right, it's just possible. Qin Bai almost laughed in anger. Is Xiao Lian really shameless and still treating him as the former Qin Bai? Lin Qin's words are almost spoken directly. "If you give me money, I'll give you everything." Her fiery gaze made Qin Bai feel a bit overwhelmed. A meal was quickly finished and it was time to check out. Qin Bai made a gesture of picking up his phone, but suddenly his face froze. "I forgot to bring my phone." His words successfully stunned both Xiao Lian and Lin Qin. "Sorry goddess, can you pay me for it?" "I'll give it to you later," Qin Bai said awkwardly. Xiao Lian's mouth twitched slightly as she and the man went out to eat and never paid for it herself. But now, Qin Bai hasn't brought her phone. If she doesn't pay, how will she continue to interact with Qin Bai in the future? 5 million, everything is for 5 million, I endure it. Xiao Lian convinced herself inwardly and was about to take out her phone to pay when she heard Lin Qin say, "EE has been a bit nervous lately, so let me pay." "How much is it?" "A total of 1,376 yuan. "What? So expensive?" Lin Qin was scared. The waiter said calmly, "A steak costs over 100 yuan, and red wine costs nearly 1,000 yuan. All the items in our store are clearly priced." Lin Qin had no choice but to bear the pain and pay the bill. She knows her relationship with Qin Bai is not as good as Xiao Lian, so she needs various opportunities to find ways to get closer to Qin Bai. This payment is the best opportunity. As long as there is this relationship, she has a reason to seek Qin Bai. Seeing Lin Qin paying the bills so readily, Xiao Lianyuan felt a bit unhappy. But the wood is already in place, and she can't do anything about it. "Lin Qin, I'll pay you back these money next time," Qin Bai said seriously. "It's okay, it's just a little money." Lin Qin pretended to wave her hand generously. She wished Qin Bai wouldn't repay the money, so she could keep looking for Qin Bai. Lin Qin is well aware of a truth. She cannot bear to let go of children and cannot catch wolves. What is just over 1,000 yuan worth for Qin Bai's 5 million yuan? On the way back, Qin Bai felt that the temperature seemed to have dropped slightly. At least he was wearing a T.A shirt, and there was a hint of coolness. This is an incredible thing in August. Next, the temperature will gradually decrease until that day, when heavy snow falls. Qin Bai stood on his balcony, looking into the distance. Chapter 10. Bow and Crossbow. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the next few days, people from the decoration company will come over every day, and the progress is very fast. After all, Qin Bai is a big customer of their company, so naturally he will not slack off. The entire house has steel plates installed in every corner, without leaving any gaps. Xiao Lianyi and Lin Qin, good girlfriends, didn't waste their time and came over every day to harass Qin Bai. When they saw with their own eyes that Qin Bai had won 5 million yuan after renovating the house, they became even more convinced. If there weren't so much money, why would Qin Bai decorate his house? Even they automatically thought to themselves that Qin Bai had already bought the house, otherwise spending so much money on decoration would make it someone else's when the lease term came. In this way, the two women became even more enthusiastic. However, Qin Bai will never forget how he was killed by these two women in the previous life. The more they behave like this, the more Qin Bai is worthless for his past self. Don't worry, let's make you happy for a while, then. Hee hee. A few days later, he received a phone call. Mr. Qin, the cold weapon you requested has already been crafted. The speaker was the old man from the sword pavilion. Qin Bai also learned later that the old man was called Zhang Jisun, and his granddaughter was called Zhang Xintian. Okay. I'll go get it. No need, I'll just bring my granddaughter over directly. After all, these things can't be taken on airplanes or high-speed trains. Qin Bai nodded, these are all cold weapons that have been sharpened. Once discovered, confiscation would be a small matter, and even he could be detained. By the way, Mr. Zhang, have those loan sharks come over? They haven't come over since last time, thanks to Mr. Qin. Zhang Jisun knew that those high-interest loans were also afraid of offending some big shots. And Qin Bai's magic technique surprised them all, not to mention those who lent high-interest loans. I guess they are also trying to find out the details of Qin Bai, otherwise they won't come back. The two of them chartered a car overnight and arrived at Qin Bai's place. After Qin Bai personally touched the knife he wanted to create, he was deeply attracted to it. The blade is not long, but it gives the impression of a hint of solemnity, with a faint gleam of cold light on the blade above. At the position of the handle, a tiger's head is carved out, with its eyes open and its teeth interlocked, as if it could eat people at any moment. Good knife. Qin Bai couldn't help but shout out. Of course, this knife was made by my grandfather who added a piece of meteorite iron from his ancestors. If I were to sell this knife, I would have to. Before Zhang Xintian could finish speaking, her grandfather covered her mouth. It's nothing, this is just an ordinary knife. But Qin Bai couldn't tell anywhere. The value of this knife is very extraordinary, and his tens of thousands are not enough. Zhang Lao, if you believe me, buy more thick clothes and a lot of food recently, you will need them in the future. Seeing Qin Bai's serious expression, Zhang Jisun nodded and replied, when we go back, I'll go buy it. Zhang Lao made such a good weapon for him free of charge, and Qin Bai naturally offered to repay him by asking them to go back and make more preparations. Qin Bai already had close-range weapons, but he felt that he lacked a long-range weapon. In modern society, the best long-range weapon to use is naturally firearms. Unfortunately, he couldn't get it at all, so he had to compromise and choose another long-range weapon. Bow and crossbow. Actually, seriously speaking, these are two types of weapons, bow and crossbow. Bows and arrows, without years of experience in use, are really difficult for most people to play with. But crossbows and arrows are different. This thing just needs to insert the arrow and pull the trigger to easily shoot it out. Qin Bai's goal is to use crossbows and arrows, which are the most convenient short crossbows. But crossbows and arrows are also controlled equipment and cannot be purchased arbitrarily. So he asked Zhang Lao, do you know where to buy a crossbow? Zhang gave Qin Bai a deep glance. Previously, he was asked to craft a cold weapon with sharp edges, but now he wants to buy a bow and crossbow. What is this doing? It's just that Qin Bai is kind to him after all, and it's not easy for Zhang Lao to directly inquire about Qin Bai's purpose. Mr. Qin, there are some things that can be done and some things that cannot be done. I can buy bows and crossbows from an old friend of mine. If no one introduces them, he won't sell them casually. Qin Bai couldn't help but laugh and cry. He heard the meaning in Zhang's old saying, thinking he was going to do something bad. However, Zhang actually had a way to purchase crossbows, which made Qin Bai very happy. Zhang Lao, where is your friend? He's in this city, come with me. Zhang brought Qin Bai to a very remote place in the city, but there were actually quite a few people here, most of whom were living in places where relatively poor people lived. This kind of place, when placed abroad, is called a slum. They walked left and right in the small alley inside and finally stopped in front of a brick and tile house that looked very ordinary. Lao Su, it's me. Mr. Zhang knocked on the door and shouted. Lao Zhang. It's rare for you to come to me. The door was opened, and an old man with messy hair walked out. When they saw Mr. Zhang, the two of them hugged him directly. Who are these two? Lao Su was surprised to see other people. This is my granddaughter, this is Mr. Qin Bai Qin. I'm here to buy some crossbows from you. No one else's crossbows can match yours, you are the expert in this area. Zhang chuckled and said. Lao Su didn't know where. It was Lao Zhang who was praising him, but there were very few people who could be recommended by Lao Zhang. Come first. Qin Bai walked in, and the light inside was a bit dim, except for an old-fashioned incandescent lamp hanging above his head. He saw various different bows and crossbows hanging on the walls, some of which looked old, some of which looked even ancient. These bows and crossbows, some of which are considered antiques, can only be seen from Lao Su. If he hadn't been a bit angry, he would have become an expert in this field long ago. There was a hint of regret in Mr. Zhang's voice. Qin Bai understood that Su Lao was also a person with a story. Without saying anything else, you were brought by Lao Zhang. I will sell your crossbow at cost price. What do you want? After sitting down, Mr. Su came straight to the point. Qin Bai stated his requirements, mainly for ease of use, preferably with continuous shooting and sharp arrows. Sure, I happen to have the kind you need here. Mr. Su took out a box from under the bed and opened it, which contained 2 well-maintained crossbows and over 100 arrows. Each one looked very sharp, and Qin Bai's eyes were fixed on it.